Hi guys, welcome to your next diary log with Aesthetics Flow. So this one is about travel insurance and also luggage. Now I have most of the travel insurance questions answered, but there's still a few there that I'm sorting out for myself personally for the needs that I have for my Canada trip. So exciting. So I'll start off with luggage because I pretty much got all the answers I needed there. So you know how I've got the lay-by flights, so also the flexi plan with it, so I can cancel it whenever I need to, or if I need to shift a flight, there's no extra cost to it, which, you know, I'll definitely get on top of that, guys. And I had a question about luggage because I've got, with the flight that I have purchased so far, the standard underneath luggage they give you is 23 kilos per suitcase. So which adds up to 46 kilos, which, you know, in everyone's mind seems like a lot. But when you add in the actual weight of the suitcase itself, it actually does delve it down to a fair bit. Just bought a set of scales then, so I'm going to actually see exactly how much it is. But I've actually wanted to know, I'm like, well, if I purchase like extra luggage and everything, if I needed to change my flight, does that actually carry on to the next flight? So I was on the phone to Luggage and Air New Zealand, because that's the ones I'm flying with. And that's what she said to me, like, and also the price for it too, if you want to get an extra suitcase, which is an extra 23 kilos, it's just $111, which actually is, it's not too bad. But if I had to cancel my flight and it doesn't carry over to the next one, well, then that's, you know, that's a little bit of money gone that Tiny doesn't like. So I've just talked to STA Travel, who's my travel agent, and that's what she said, it doesn't carry over to the next flight. But the good thing is, because I asked the luggage lady this too, it was really funny because she said to me, she's like, you sound really organised. I'm like, well, I kind of have to be. But like, maybe I am being more anal about it than most people. But anyway, she said you can literally purchase that extra luggage like just before you check in. So it could even be like a day before, like just whenever, just as long as you haven't checked in, you can still get extra luggage. But I said to her, I'm like, well, what if like a lot of people have actually purchased extra luggage and I can't fit mine on the plane? She's like, just for you, like for your knowledge, she's like, that's never happened. She's like, so don't stress. So if I need to, you know, add extra luggage, I can do that later on. But I just like, this is what I've been doing with this, and I think this is what's actually really been helping me like calm down with these travels. Like, even though I have had some anxiety, especially last week, I had a little bit of anxiety about it, but that's just literally, I think with me personally, that's just literally just to do with the change, like, you know, absorbing the change, because, you know, my time's like getting less to organize it all, and the flight's getting a lot closer. So I think that's actually quite natural with that change. So if you are feeling that anxiety, like, I always ask myself, you know, where's that coming from? Is it because I'm not organized, you know, I haven't done stuff? Or is it because, you know, I'm just trying to assimilate to this change? And with me, I feel like it's actually just coming from, because, you know, everybody's asking me like, oh, when are you going to Canada? Have you organized this? Have you organized that? And I'm like, I have done a lot, but like everyone keeps saying like, where am I staying with renting? And I'm like, I can't organize that till I get there. But everyone's been asking me that question. So that gives me anxiety, but I cannot possibly actually organize that till I get there. Like, I could technically get like a flight before I get there, but I'm like, you need to know the area it is it safe, is it good? You know, you need to go there yourself, because pictures can really lie. So, you know, there's only so much you can do about that. But I think it's just assimilating to that change, and everyone asking me questions, I'm like, stop asking me questions, like I'm doing it. Anyway, off track. But back to luggage. So you can purchase your luggage, you know, the extra luggage, just even day or two before. So I'm going to be checking that out when I start packing, just to see if I do need that extra luggage. But at least I know myself now all the steps it takes to actually get there. And by that point, when I ask for extra luggage, like, I'll definitely know I'm flying out on that actual flight. So no stress there. So if you want to know about extra luggage and stuff, that's actually good to know. If your luggage, actually, she did tell me this too. So there's a standard size. So if your suitcase, you know, you've got like a really, really large suitcase, it's like exceeds the normal parameters of a suitcase that they have. Like, it's between 23 kilos and I think it was 50 something. If it's between that, that's considered excess luggage, because it's like, you know, it's excess basically. She said that that one's a bit different itself, and that's an extra $250, and you can do that through actually international cargo. So there's a number with that too that I can put in the description, or if you just want to message me if you want to know that number, with Air New Zealand if you're flying with them specifically. So if your actual suitcase is an abnormal size and it exceeds the 23 kilos, you've got options, so don't stress about that. Now to travel insurance. Now, travel insurance is a bitch. Oh my god, so there's like all these options to get as well. But with what I'm getting, because there's a choice, like for me specifically, because, you know, I'm getting international, like worldwide one. So there is basic, mid, and top, and there's like one above that, which is like, you know, the best travel insurance you can get, but which is, you know, ridiculously expensive. So the one that I'm umming and ahhing about is between the basic and the mid. Now, obviously the basic has less coverage with the amounts that you covered, and the other difference between that and the mid travel insurance thingy-majiggy. Yes, I'm really sick of talking about travel insurance. But I'm like, I better do a video about it because, you know, this is like, I've had so many questions about it, and this document that I got here too, I'll get a close-up of it soon. It's just like there's 30 pages of gibberish, basically. But the big difference between the basic and the mid, besides the amounts that they cover you for, is basic covers you less for dental. So if you have like any emergency dental assistance that you need, you're covered a bit less with that one. And also if you needed to fly back for some like medical reason for somebody else, like, you know, a family member or something, they don't cover that, but they cover that in the mid international insurance. So if you know you've got somebody that's got a bit of a medical problem, it's probably better to get the mid. But also something else to know with the insurance too, if you've been watching my videos, you know that with immigration, if you get a year or 6 months worth of travel insurance because you're trying to cut down on bucks, you can get your visa shortened to that amount of time by immigration. So I'm like, okay, cool, well then I'll have to get the full 2 years, which IEP can get me. But then I come into the trouble of it's really, really expensive. And also, if you are flying around the world except for your home country, which for me is Australia, like you're covered with everything, like the international insurance, because you're getting international worldwide, you're covered everywhere else with those same things that you're covered for in Canada, which is fantastic. But if I have to fly back to Australia and I haven't done a set date before I've gotten my policy, when I return home, that policy immediately stops and you lose that resident insurance. Even if you had 6 months left of that insurance, you lose it all. And I'm like, well, okay, that's not good because I may need to come back for acting or something. Like I may need to come back to Australia for some unknown reason. I don't know yet and I can't give you a date, especially being an actress, you just don't know. And I'm like, well, what happens then? And he said there is an option for a split policy. So we're talking about that at the moment. So I'll let you know how that goes. And I only found this out because I actually read the fine print. It's taken me days to literally understand even half of this gibberish as well. So really read it, guys. Like don't just like go like, okay, because there's a table of contents here. I'll do a zoom up of this after as well. And they just read this and like, okay, well I'm covered for if I get mid 10 grand worth of cancellation fees and lost deposits, and travel services provider insolvency, I'm covered for 10 grand there as well. Like there's a difference with that because if you go into, that says, I'm gonna have to zoom in on that now, give me a second. Sorry guys, I have to do this handheld. So as you can see here in this table of benefits here, this is all the amounts that they cover you for. So as I've been talking about the mid and the basic. Now here on the corner, they have 1A there, cancellation fees and lost deposits. So you can just read that and go, okay, so mid, that covers, you know, 10 grand if you're single, 4 grand for basic. And you're like, well, okay, that's pretty sweet. But if you go down here, and this is like more information there, and even more information, there's a lot of information, guys. 1A. So this actually explains that section here. So they explain here exactly what they cover. But in this little jiggy-me-jiggy here, they say 2 grand for single cover. So even though in the basic, they said that covered me for 4 grand, if you're single for this specific thing here, so this is your travel agent's cancellation fees and any commission or service fees retained by your travel agent up to the amount of commission or service fees, a lot of words there, that your travel agent would have earned had your journey not been cancelled, limited to 2 grand. So for that specific thing, I'm only covered for 2 grand, even though my policy in that table of benefits there at the top there said 4,000. So this is something to really check. You really got to read this fine print, because I actually checked this with the insurance agent today because I called them and I said, so what does this exactly mean here? And this is how she explained it to me, like, yeah, that's why you read the fine print, because for that specific thing here, they only cover you up until 2 grand. So interesting, huh? Also, now explaining something else here. So this is the section personal liability. Sorry for my shaky hand. Now, this says 5 million for each one that's actually covered here, except for this other section, but we don't need to worry about that because we're international. And that there, because I had to ask her, like, what does this mean? And she explained to me that personal liability is more to do with legal matters. So if somebody sues you or if you sue somebody, they cover you up until that amount with that. So that's just actually explaining that section. And rental vehicle, they actually cover you for that too, which is pretty cool. I don't know if this was a dumb question, but I had to ask her this as well. So I said to him like, oh, well, so say if I bought a car there, would that actually cover this? And she's like, no, this only covers for specifically renting cars. So just in case you had that question, because I'm like, I'd rather ask a dumb question than make a dumb mistake. Doesn't cover normal car insurance if you purchase the car. So the next thing I discussed, because the whole thing with excess, it really confused me. I'm like, what the hell is this excess stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, should I know about this? Even when I talked to mum and dad, they were a bit confused. So I'll explain excess to you. So the general standard is paying, oh, sorry, I might have gotten a point. Oh no, that's nothing. Just the Kane, shut up. If you don't know who Kane is, oh my god, I keep dropping this bloody phone. He's my brother and he interrupts everything. Okay, so explaining excess. So the standard excess that people normally pay is $150. So what that means is, say if your claim is up until $1,000, you pay the first $150 and then the insurance company pays the rest of it, which seems like, okay, that's okay. But if your claim comes to less than $150, it means you pay for it. I'm like, well, okay, that's a bit funny. Like, what if my claim is less? Then what's the point of even having you guys? I'm not saying insurance companies are bad. So what I said is, I'm like, so if I don't pay any excess, what's the less benefits of that? She's like, well, the premium policy is higher, which is your entire policy's amount. And I said, well, how much higher is it? She's like, it's $35 each policy, so 1 year to 2 years. So I'm getting 2 years, so it's $70 extra. 1 year is $35 extra. I'm like, so I'm only paying an extra $35, so you actually pay the full claim? And she's like, yes. So my thing is, unless there's something about excess that I don't know, because I asked the agent as well, so otherwise she's giving me bad information, but I wouldn't pay excess because it's literally for your whole policy, it's only extra $35. And a lot of your claims may be under $150 too. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, I'm going to pay a higher premium to actually, so I get all the money back. So if I did have to put in a claim for $1,000, I get the full $1,000 and I don't get, $150 taken out of that. So my thing is, that's what I'm doing, unless you guys, there's something else that I don't know, tell me, but I would actually not get excess. Oh, and regarding medical too, because I was a bit confused with this, because one of the people that I've heard, I can't remember who said this to me, they said, well, your travel insurance pretty much covers you for everything, so you don't really need to get anything else. And I'm like, well, I was confused with the whole medical thing. And I'm like, so what exactly do you cover in medical? And how she explained it to me is, the only medical stuff that travel insurance covers is emergency stuff. So if I'm going just for a general appointment just to check my eyes or just to check out my teeth or, get a script or whatever, they don't cover any of that. They only cover if something actually emergency-wise happens, so with medical stuff. So if you're confused with that, like basically for Australians, you would understand they're not Medicare. So you won't get any cheaper appointments or anything like that through them. So that's you have to get with the whatever the Medicare system is for wherever you're going. So that explains the whole medical stuff, so I finally understand that. Oh, and this is what I'm asking you about too. This is something else I'm going to have to get back to you guys on. For the second year, since, I really need the 2 years for this whole, so immigration doesn't cut down my visa, I've asked if I can go on a payment plan for the second year of my insurance. And he said, yes, you can do that, but immigration, he says, may not recognize it since it isn't paid. They may only recognize you only having the year, not having the 2 years. So what I've said to him now is, can I actually get in contact with immigration that I'm going to be dealing with over there directly? Can you give me their number so I can actually discuss with this beforehand? So I can see, like maybe I can get some document from them saying she's on a payment plan for the second year, we accept her before she comes in. So when I get down on the ground, whatever immigration officer I get, I can maybe have a document showing them yes, I've already been approved by you guys, I'm definitely getting the 2 year even though my second insurance year is on a payment plan. So I'll get back to you on that one if that's actually, I can do that. I'm asking as many questions as I can. This is interesting. This is what happens when you read the fine print. Because I actually read somewhere on there, I can't remember which bit it was under, but it said that if a bus or airline or anything with travel or anything gets like, you know, rescheduled or anything, it says that they don't cover it. I'm like, well, what's the point in having you guys if you don't cover that stuff? Because that's the stuff that kind of happens. And they say, well, for example, if it's a mechanical failure from the bus line, whatever bus you're on, well, they are supposed to cover you for that. Or the airline, if it's rescheduled, they're the ones that are supposed to cover you for it because it's under their company and they've got their own insurance for that. So this travel insurance basically covers things that are unseen. So say if there's a weather storm or something like that, and you know your bus gets delayed for that reason, or the aircraft gets delayed for that reason, the airline couldn't predict that or control that. So that comes under travel insurance, anything that's unseen with it. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. And if anybody else can possibly cover it, they will make them pay for it. So for example, if your flight gets delayed or anything like that, that comes under the airline because that's their fault. Like depending on the reason, of course, if it is a weather issue, then travel insurance will cover it. But if they can blame it on somebody else and make them pay for it, then they'll do that. So if that kind of makes sense. Back to the luggage thing as well. So if you purchase extra luggage, like I may do, don't know yet, we'll see, but if I have to purchase that extra bag for underneath, I don't have to tell the insurance company that to actually insure that extra baggage, because that just comes under the whole policy with it as well, with whatever they cover with baggage already. So say if they cover up to $8,000 or something, then that's actually what's it's under all the same banner with it. Actually, to notify that with luggage as well. A lot of people, they have questions about the whole luggage thing. So this is how you know here which one's actually covered. So top plus covers this, top international, mid international, top plus frequent traveler, mid, blah, 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 all these ones. So notice here, this doesn't say basic. So 3,000, this is how much they cover up into for personal computers, video recorders and cameras. So for example, the policy does state high, it states about $8,000, but only up to 3 will they actually cover personal computers for. And the same thing for mobile phones, and the same thing for, and this 750 here, now just to explain this, 750 is for all other unspecified items, which covers your luggage. So if you have something really special that you love that you want to insure specifically, and it's actually more expensive than the 750, you'd have to call the insurance company and talk to them specifically about that and insure that item under something different, which brings up your premium. So that's another little note there. If you do have something that you really love that's actually a bit different, because, here is, yeah. So here's what basic covers. So 750 for all unspecified items, and this is what that actually relates to underneath there. So that makes me a bit nervous because I've got a lot of electronics, so I may end up, guys, going for mid because I do want all this stuff insured here. So I know I'm going to have to spend more money, and actually I'll tell you how much it is. So this is this may be a bit different for you guys because I get 30% off with IEP, which is great. So basic for 1 year is $13.58. That's with excess, so it's $35 extra. And for the 2 years, it's going to be $2,880, which is just under $3,000. Mid-year, the mid international for 1 year, $1,688, and for year 2 is $1,891, and all up together for mid. This is with excess. This is $3,579. So it is a lot of money, but the thing is, you do get a lot more coverage with them. So I'm still deciding between the two, but I'll tell you what happens. And the reason why the second year is more expensive is the amount of time that you actually ask for the insurance between when you get the insurance, since it's actually I'm asking for it a lot earlier. That's what they say with the lead time that adds more money. Really, to me, that doesn't make sense. I think they're just looking for another reason to actually charge you more. But because she couldn't really explain further when I asked her, I'm like, well, why does lead time matter? But that's with this stuff, there's no point arguing with them because you're never going to get it any less with that, because I'm already getting 30% off with it. So that's just the amounts there to actually explain between those two. So hopefully that helps you guys and answers a few more questions about this whole insurance thing. There are still a few things I need to get back on, as I told you, with the split policy and also the payment plan, so I'll let you know how that goes with it. And if there's any other updates with the luggage, I'll let you know with that. And also just going to tag on the end here, in case your suitcase doesn't already have it, get a lock. If you can see it I may actually do this in another video because I've already currently put that lock on my mailbox for other reasons. There's been a little bit of stuff going wrong in my place at the moment with that, so I've just put my travel lock that I'm going to use on the suitcase on my mailbox, that's funny. but I'll definitely get those locks. I actually just found this one in Chemist Warehouse, so it's just literally like pin code and has instructions how to change that, which was a bit confusing. It took me about 10 minutes to be able to actually reset the code because the code was on 3 zeros. I'm like, well, I can't leave it on that. Someone surely is going to do something with that. So I got mine from the chemist, and I think the company's called Kojo. I think that's it. This like travel brand which has like all these like adapters and stuff. I'll definitely be getting that if your suitcase already doesn't actually have a code or a lock or anything on it just to protect it. Definitely protect your suitcase and do as much as you can to ensure that you're safe with that. But anyway, I hope this has actually helped you guys and answered some questions. I've been literally with this whole insurance thing, especially, I've just been reading this fine print and going over and just seeing what's, you know, the best thing for me with it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe and share my videos around, especially to other people who may be traveling or moving overseas, as something I've said may help them along their journey. And also you can follow my journey further along on my Instagram at tiny.lankshaw. And thank you so much guys for watching this video, and wait for my next diary log. I'm sure there's definitely going to be a lot more updates. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.